So the beanie guy was trending on Twitter like hard for like the last couple of days. The reason why, of course, is because he's decided to sue Kamala Harris because of a little tweet that Kamala Harris's campaign sent out. I kind of went back and grabbed that actual tweet itself, but I'm a little bit hesitant to play the actual clip itself because of the language that YouTube terms as too harmful for people's ears, even though what Laura Loomer said in said video clip that was taken down from YouTube because the episode has been removed really is not, let's just say, it wasn't like she was calling for people to, she wasn't calling for that. She was just simply stating that back in the old days, if you were found guilty of treason or if you were found guilty of sedition, you found yourself being... That right there is basically the extent of what I can say as far as that's concerned. But don't worry, I'm pretty sure I will break TOS at some point in time in this video. So what exactly is going on here? So let's go ahead and get to the story.
That I've engaged legal counsel. We are preparing a lawsuit against the Kamala Harris campaign due to a defamatory statement posted on X, which is extreme, egregious, and I just got to say outright psychotic in accusing me personally, as well as Laura Loomer, but we are two separate individuals, of calling for unchecked legal power so that they, meaning Trump and his allies, can jail and execute anyone who doesn't support Trump if he wins, which is a shocking and egregious lie that goes so far beyond the pale. I just can't even. It's shocking and downright insane. This, of course, this tweet came over the weekend, Labor Day. Immediately, I contacted my legal team and furious. My family is furious. The tweet in question refers to me as a Trump operative. I do not work for the Trump campaign. I've never received any money from the Trump campaign or
people
Trump.
Are going to say that Tim Pool is a Trump operative, especially given the fact that he did do an interview recently with Trump. Only lasts about 20 or 30 minutes, and Tim even admitted that he meant for it to be a softball interview. But still, though, at the same time, though, Tim Pool is not an actual Trump operative. As a matter of fact, once again, let the right-wing conservative come out here and tell you that Tim Pool was not even a conservative. But of course, we'll be talking about that in this video, so we got a lot to cover. Okay, so we're not just going to be talking about the lawsuit in this video. We're also going to be talking about exactly what might happen as a result of it. And we're also going to be talking about some of the things that Tim is talking about because obviously he sounds off in this video a lot on honor and how it is that we've gotten to the point to where we're basically playing gutter politics where just about everything is legal. Yet, for whatever reason, one side of the aisle refuses to actually get in the gutter. But then again, at the same time, I kind of understand that why that is the case. But speaking of the gutter, there's going to be another video out on this Venezuelan gang situation that's going on in Chicago. But of course, I'll be making that video tonight with the possibility of making a second video or a follow-up video to it later on in the evening. Basically, what's going to happen is that this video right here is going to be the mid video of the day, and yet I'm already recording it first. And then the first video is going to be the one on the migrant situation in Chicago. And of course, if there are any updates to what's going on, that one right there will come out at roughly 6 o'clock tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be doing 3 videos a day for at least not only Tuesday and Wednesday, but maybe Friday too. I'm not entirely sure. It just all depends. Just got back from surgery. Haven't been around, so obviously I need to kind of feed the algorithm a little bit. Still, though, make sure you guys are going to your phones. Go ahead and cut on the notifications. Go ahead and hit the like button if you guys are here, so that way the YouTube algorithm will go ahead and pick up on the video. Also, something else, too, if you guys are new here, if you want to subscribe, please do so. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the notifications. Let's make this channel bigger. Let's beat the censorship, and let's go ahead and get to the story. Okay, now, guys, really quick. Before I answer the first minute and 8 seconds that you guys saw, the initial bit where Tim is talking about the lawsuit and seeking legal counsel, I want to go ahead and play the other 37 seconds of that entire segment before we get to the rest of it and give some commentary now. The reason why is because there's a lot of misconceptions about Tim Pool. And of course, I've done a lot of videos where Tim was kind of featured, and you probably think this guy right here is he's just a fan of the Beatty Boy. No. Tim has gotten better over the years, but at one point in time, I noticed a lot of weaknesses in his arguments and where he was coming from. But then again, at the same time, though, I've also given him a lot of credit over the years. It just so happens to be that I give him a little bit more credit than I do take away from him. But still, let's go ahead and watch this next part, and I'll tell you guys exactly what I think of what's actually going on and why it is that, wow, this Kamala Harris campaign is absolutely terrible.
Where has honor gone? Well, my friends, we are in a low trust society. This is where you see crime skyrocket. And it's not so much as about low trust that people don't care at all about the lives of others around them. But I wondered why it was that we claimed to have more honor, why we believed that to be the case. Smaller population. That's really it. If you were considered a dishonorable person, you were known to everyone. There were fewer people. And so if you were dishonorable, a liar, a cheater, a thief, people would not want to work with you. They didn't trust you. How would you survive? So trust was important. Maintaining honor was important.
Where has honor gone? Well, honor for the most part still exists in most people. I think that people just don't see it because they're thinking about what they see on television. And I understand why it is that people may think there's a lack of honor out there. Now, the reason why I'm starting out talking about this versus the lawsuit, which of course will come back up a little bit closer to the end of the video, is because it's true, there has been a lack of honor in our nation for a very long time, especially amongst politicians. But once you understand how our media cycle operates, you understand that these people will say just about anything and everything. And of course, that will even drive some people to the point to where they believe irreality, not what's actually in front of them, but what's actually being said to the people or said to them from the personal screen. Let me give you two very, very quick examples. One example, of course, is going to come up in this video here because obviously, if you've heard the story about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kamala Harris sign that was put up on a bus stop, and now they're out here denying that they had anything to do with that. And of course, they did release a video on this on Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock. Don't worry, I'll probably have it linked or put in the end cards at the end of this video. Then you'll obviously know some shady crap is going on. This presidential campaign that she's running is absolutely 100% fake. But let me give you an example of what I mean by people being absolutely 100% corroded. I released a video on the Gold Star family situation involving Kamala Harris and the Gold Star families. Of course, that video will also be put at the very end of this video as well. The Kamala Harris team thought it was a good idea to go after former President Trump because he went to Section 60 of Arlington National Cemetery. Now, bear with me for a very quick second because this right here just goes to show you exactly how corroded people's minds are. As a veteran myself, you'd think that I would think this was absolutely disgusting. Now, here's the thing. We found out later on that the families actually invited Trump to go to Arlington National Cemetery. I mean, dude, they were celebrating the life of their loved ones that were lost at Abbey Gate in 2021. By the way, the Abbey Gate incident happened 8 months after Donald Trump left office, yet you still got people who actually, and they showed up in my comment section, and quite frankly, I think it's absolutely hilarious because they're just up and feeding my algorithm, to complain that it was all Trump's fault that these people died, that these 13 men and women died, that these 11 Marines, this one sailor, and this, of course, this one soldier died. The sailor, of course, being a corpsman. I think it's his fault that these 13 men and women died, even though it happened on Joe Biden's watch. They're going back to the deal that was negotiated with the Taliban, even though there was a conditions-based agreement for 2,000 men left on the ground, quick reaction force in case things went sour, for there to actually be there. And of course, the conditions also included putting more troops on the ground in case things got hot. These people didn't look into things. They didn't do any actual research. And of course, to go on top of this, they're blaming a guy who'd been out of office for 8 months. I mean, we dealt with this entire crap when Barack Obama was in office. Look, the minute Obama got in office in 2009, the first thing he did was he passed a couple of massive spending packages. Come 3 years later, the economy is not jolted the way he needs it to jolt. So what does he do? He blames George W. Bush for all of his problems. Now, yes, the market crash occurred, or the banking crisis occurred under Bush's watch. Yes. It's also true that Bush's economy was not a very good economy either, but it was definitely a lot better than Obama's economy. I'll just go ahead and say that right now. His leadership was better than Obama's. Fight me on that. I really and truly don't care what you think. The point is this right here. We've gotten to the point in time where we're not taking accountability for ourselves, nor are we actually acknowledging the fact that maybe we're the ones who screwed up. Go back to the Afghanistan example. Just go back to that. These people here are blaming a guy who'd been out of office for damn near 9 months, not realizing that the person on watch is the one who allowed what happened to happen. Without also acknowledging the fact that the families themselves actually invited Trump to show up, while at the same time invited Harris and Biden, and yet Harris and Biden told the families to basically piss off. Not to mention the fact that Biden had also done a video himself of him at Section 60 of Arlington National Cemetery. I mean, that just goes to show you the level of cognitive dissonance that we have in our society. It also goes to show you the lack of honor that we have because these people lie like crazy. So, no, I'm not surprised that Kamala Harris, for whatever reason, is deciding to call Tim Pool a Donald Trump operative when clearly he's not. Pool was a Bernie bro in 2016 who ultimately decided not to vote. Tim Pool is also somebody who's in favor of universal health care, something that I am not in favor of as a conservative, obviously, and I'll tell you my reasons why. I'll make some adjustments when it comes to stuff like kids and stuff. I do agree with that. But also to go on top of that, his positions don't fully match that right there of a true conservative or someone who's MAGA. He is pro-Second Amendment now, but of course he's pro-Second Amendment after being anti-Second Amendment. He believed in gun control at one point in time. I'm glad to see he's woken up on this. But some of the things that he says when it comes to U.S. foreign policy just make absolutely no sense at all. So obviously, me and him have some disagreements. He's not a conservative, but yet, of course, he's being branded a Trump operative. And this is the real reason why is that Tim is suing this woman. Yeah, he does have a point about the lack of honor, and he does have a point about the fact that back in the old days, you were in smaller communities, people wouldn't work with you if you had a history of being a liar. Of course, you can go online and you can look up people's information and get said information and see for yourself if they're honest or honest dealers, if they're good at their job or whatever. You can do that now, and that's a good thing to have. But back in the day, if you were a liar or if you were dishonest, you were outed from your community. You weren't accepted back in. Now people just come on back in. They just keep lying over and over and over again. I mean, you got to ask yourself a question. When the hell is the Lord's forgiveness meter going to run out? But of course, there is more to this video because obviously there's a whole other half of this right here that I haven't gotten to yet that we're going to get to now. So what was it that the Kamala Harris campaign retweeted that had Tim Pool in it? Well, here you go.
That currently has 11.5 million views and growing. I will play for you the clip so you can hear it, and then I will break down exactly how this story emerges and provide you the full context. Should Democrats be in jail? No question. When Donald Trump gets elected, should he start locking them up? No question. Should there be lists of Democrats that need to go to jail? 100%. And the reason for that is they've committed crimes. We need to make sure that when Donald Trump wins, we've got an attorney general, a deputy attorney general, a head of the CIA and the FBI. Kash Patel would be fantastic. We can have attorney general. There's some names floating around. And then they can start having their investigators and the feds issuing subpoenas, pulling up evidence, and with real evidence, bring them to judges for warrants. Then these people can spend three years of their lives fighting tooth and nail for the crime against the government for crimes they committed, and we can prove. Yeah. And the reason why we put them on trial is that we can show the whole world we will uncover what you've done. We will make sure everyone knows, and you will be held accountable for it.
Not just jail, they should get the death penalty. You know, we actually used to have the punishment for treason in this country.
Okay, before I talk about Laura Loomer and before I talk about Tim, I want to go ahead and say this really quick. I'm going to talk about Laura Loomer just for a very quick second. She's not lying. Back in the old days, if you were found guilty of treason or if you were a traitor, then yeah, that was actually the penalty. Firing squad. I mean, dude, this is what they did. By the way, YouTube's terms of services will probably limit the ads now in the video, but at this point in time, I really and truly don't care. I'm not saying that she's right or wrong. I'm just simply saying that this is what they used to do. As far as Tim's feelings are concerned and the little bit that he was saying, I don't see how in the world that it actually paints a picture to people like himself being MAGA or Trumpers, or maybe the idea is to say that everybody who's MAGA thinks like him, when clearly not everybody does, and not everybody thinks like me, and not everybody thinks like you, the viewer of this video. Not everybody thinks like you, the person who may hate my ass, but still at the same time, though, the point is this right here. Tim is not a Trump operative. He never really and truly has been, and he more than likely never will be. I'm pretty sure after the election is over with, he'll find something to bitch and complain about or gripe about, probably something that happens overseas. A drone strike or whatever. And by the way, I did say I was going to talk about Laura Loomer for a second. Let me just go ahead and tell you right now, my feelings on Laura Loomer are a little bit mixed. I don't agree with everything that she says. A lot of times she does a good job of getting research, but also at the same time, though, she also comes off like a loon. And in a lot of ways, she turns off brand new voters that, by the way, we would need to win the election. I just figured I'd put that out there, that sometimes Laura Loomer can just go off the deep end. Even though in this circumstance here, she was actually correct. But the episode itself was scrubbed from YouTube. It still exists on Timcast. The website still exists on iTunes, as Tim will tell you here in a second. But the fact of the matter is right here. It was an old episode, and I don't see how the hell what Tim Pool says makes him a Trump operative. So, yeah, I can kind of see why Tim is suing the Kamala Harris campaign. Just for the record, I do not agree with Tim Pool on the topic of the death penalty. I'm actually very, very much in favor of it. I am in favor of, I would say, a much more limited use depending on the circumstances, but for the most part, I am in favor of the death penalty. I am also in favor of public shaming if you are a child sex trafficker. And of course, I think that shaming should then result in, but still at the same time, though, YouTube's terms of services probably went ahead and limited the ads on this video, but I'm pretty sure you guys can see exactly the tweet that they wanted to share. And of course, the idea was to paint every single Trump voter as what Laura Loomer is. Let us please continue.
And the show ends. Now I'll address this. They have since scrubbed the video from YouTube. Indeed. The video, the full show exists on iTunes, Spotify, Rumble, and all other podcast platforms. The show was scrubbed because I don't agree with Laura Loomer. Now, there's an interesting point to be made, especially. I can't speak for Loomer. What I can say is Laura Loomer in the show, in this clip, did not call for Trump to bring on authorities, to arrest people, or do anything like that. She simply added that the penalty for treason is death. And the reason why the show was scrubbed is that I personally do not appreciate that rhetoric. We don't allow that on our show. It goes too far, in my opinion. We went on to carry on the show on other platforms. YouTube also has a rule against it. And where I went on to explain specifically, I don't believe any of these people have committed treason. I believe it is sedition. And who are these people that are being referred to? Well, there is a full context to this indeed. And that is from the Bulwark, May 31st, 2024, quote, I want to see lists of which Democrats
Eagles
are.
example, that right there is just flat out dishonest. Now, then again, though, I can understand why people might think that the Eagles might endorse her, but still at the same time, though, I just don't think that they did this time around. Why in the hell would you want to alienate a certain section of your fan base, probably half your fan base, especially given the makeup of where the fans are coming in at to watch the game? I just don't see why in the hell they would do that. So just more and more dishonest crap that comes out of this campaign. But I'm pretty sure by now we're kind of used to it. So at some point in time, you have to learn to fight back. And I think Tim's doing the right thing here by filing a lawsuit and suing the woman. Okay, now, guys, I had a whole minute and 30 seconds extra to put in there. Instead, I'm just going to link the episode or the segment in the description box for you guys. But Tim does eventually go on to talk about how it is that Kamala Harris is actually the one in charge of her campaign. I personally don't think she is. As a matter of fact, I don't believe anybody who runs for president really and truly is in charge of their campaign. But still, though, the only thing that Tim Pool was basically saying, or Laura Loomer was saying, was if you basically break the law, then you quite frankly should get punished for it. And Laura Loomer just simply brought up the fact that, yeah, back in the old days, you got, if you committed treason, sedition, that type of stuff there. I'm not going to get into the differences between the two for this video. It's not a historical video. It's just mostly just a current events video telling you what the hell's going on here. But if you really truly just sit here and just think about it, the more and more you look at it, it looks like these people are going out of their way to group people. It's kind of funny, too, because they run on identity politics, basically running on each and every single letter of the alphabet, which, of course, I'll have to re-explain here in a second. But the fact of the matter is, they're trying to group them all up in one. So we shouldn't be surprised that they're trying to group anybody and everybody that disagrees with what they have to say as a Trump voter or Trump supporter. Example of this right here would be me. I'm not really a Trump supporter. I'm a traditional conservative. Not a registered Republican, a traditional conservative. In 2016, I thought that Trump was running on some things that I liked, but I didn't think it was realistic, but I voted for him to ignore Hillary Clinton. In 2018, I did not like what Republicans were doing. I did not like the fact that Republicans were obstructing his term, so I stayed home. In 2020, the pandemic, and of course, Trump even pissed me off in 2019, and I almost didn't vote, but because of what was going on, I voted for him there. In 2022, seeing Republicans completely screw their voters over, I almost did not vote then. But I ultimately did because I needed to make sure that Republicans got that Senate seat. This year, I do plan on voting because I don't want to see Kamala Harris be president. I don't agree with everything that Donald says. I don't agree with all the crazy stuff he puts out from time to time. Sometimes I don't like his attitude, even though he's been much more disciplined this time around than previous elections. But no, that does not make me a Trump supporter. It just makes me a guy who voted for Trump. There's a difference between the two. If you want to see actual Trump supporters, just go to Twitter. They're all over the place. I'm pretty sure I have some in my comment section, and I'm pretty sure I have some that follow me now. Love you guys. I'm glad you guys are here to follow me. I'm glad you guys are actually keeping up with the channel. I really and truly am. But right now, at this moment in time, Donald Trump is our best chance at stopping this crazy crap that we have to deal with now. And of course, Kamala Harris will be way worse than Joe Biden. I mean, dude, look at what the hell is going on around the world right now. You've got a war in the Middle East between Israel and the Gaza Strip. Right now, it looks like they're about to go to war with Lebanon. You've got a situation between Russia and Ukraine. By the way, no wars when Trump was in office. And then to go on top of that, look at what the hell they did with Afghanistan. Look what they did with the botched withdrawal. Yet, of course, their voters, of course, will still turn right back around. Harris's voters will come right back around and say, well, there's Trump's fault, even though he hadn't been president for 8 freaking months. Either way, even though it was not his actual people in charge anymore. That's the level of cognitive dissonance that we have. They've already branded you as this Trump alt-right figure, even though these people will never have a conversation with. However, it will lead to echo chambers being created in the future, and it will also lead to clinical depression, and it could, of course, lead to, can't really do it here, or else that right there will be an actual violation of terms of service, but I'm pretty sure you guys can use your imagination. Please don't go out there and act on this. I'm just simply saying that, Obviously, this person has a mental disorder. If that is what the hell Trump derangement syndrome is, and obviously Kamala Harris wants to take advantage of this. And by doing so, she wants to paint somebody who's just simply voting for Trump as a member of the Trump campaign staff. And of course, to go on top of this, try to make it an issue where it is that everybody in Trump world is like Laura Loomer, or everybody in Trump world is calling for the death of traitors. Which makes me wonder, that age-old adage. Oh yeah, that's right. They are always guilty of what it is they accuse you of. They accuse you of what they always do. This is the same administration that has hit their political opponent with 4 separate court cases. One has been dropped. Another one is about to be dropped. One there's a sentencing for. They're trying to actually jail their political opposition. They tried to remove him from the ballot. They have basically moved on real fast after he was assassinated like nothing happened. They even brought up blue and on conspiracy theories. And yet, these people are branding you the traitor. They're branding you the Trump operative, even though you had nothing to do with the campaign. So, yeah, I would sue this crazy woman too. But you guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. With that right there being said, make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comments. There's probably going to be one more additional video that will come out before this one and maybe one that comes out afterwards. Just waiting on the updates in the city of Chicago. But let me just go ahead and kind of get that video out first so that way I can give you guys an idea of what's actually floating around and what could ultimately happen as a result. But still though, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off, and I'll see you guys later.